Okay, am I standing in the right? I feel like I'm in the wrong spot here. In the gospel, Thomas, the whole point was they called him Doubting Thomas. Well, they didn't. We do. Doubting Thomas. Thomas stood for the twin, means a twin. But we say Doubting Thomas because he did not believe that Jesus was raised until he saw him. He couldn't see him, and they called him Doubting Thomas. Okay, and we read this every year. Most things go every 3 years. We have the same lesson every 3 years, but Doubting Thomas, we get it every single year. And honestly, I think I've done the last 3 Doubting Thomases. And the reason is, Thomas did doubt. He had to see. But I'm a doubter too. I've never made any argument about that. I'm a doubter. I'm a skeptic. That's what I am. That's how I was put together. That's what I am. I never liked this term, Doubting Thomas. They didn't call him Inquisitive Thomas, or Inquiring, or Curious, or Show Me Thomas. They called him Doubting Thomas. And admit it, you kind of think he's not as good as the rest of the disciples. I'm sure Jesus was ticked off. How did I pick this guy? Oh, Thomas, you know. He probably thought of replacing him, I'm sure. I don't know. I don't like the term doubting. It reminds me of a term, and while I don't always like using sports analogies in sermons, as a matter of fact, I don't normally do them, but this sermon is going to be about half on sports. When they say Doubting Thomas, it reminds me of a term in sports. Oh, he's a good athlete, but he chokes. Okay, now choke, I think all you know, means when the pressure's on, when you got to get it done, you don't. You boot the field goal wide right. The ball goes between your legs. You can't run as fast as you should. It's all important, the most important thing ever, and you don't get it done. And when people talk about chokers, they say that. Yeah, he's a choker. He doesn't get it done. And they're not just saying like he's short or he's slow. They're saying, yeah, but he chokes. And honestly, it's like it's describing him morally, or he's a bad person. That's what they say. Like, he's a doubter. He has weak faith. Both of those, when they say it, it's like, yeah, but he's not a good person. He's morally weak. He's mentally inferior or something like that. I don't know. I don't like it. If you Google top sports chokes of all time, they'll argue about who's number 5, 4, 3, 2, but number 1 is always Bill Buckner. Always Bill Buckner. Short story, Bill Buckner, I think it was the 86 World Series, I think, and the Red Sox were going to win their first World Series in 80 years. And a slow grounder comes on first base, and I still hear Vin Scully saying it, and a slow grounder goes between his legs, and it goes between Bill Buckner's legs. Run score, Red Sox lose. Was he mentally weak, morally inferior? No, just missed the ball. But if you don't think that people say it that way, he retired, lives in Arizona, doesn't give interviews, he's a hermit. He can't come out because people have sent him death threats and because he's such a bad person. Now, when the Red Sox did win the series years later, they invited him to be part of the race. He said, yeah, right. You know, no. It ruined his life. Not because he dropped the ball, because people treated him like that. People treat chokers and doubters. And trust me, I know this because I am a doubter and I've seen the looks and I've seen the people question, oh, your faith isn't strong enough. Yeah, you know, you choke too, that kind of thing. I don't like it. So if you're a choker or a doubter, you give up? Just say, that's what I am? Well, yes and no. First of all, if you know someone who chokes, never use the term choke because that is such a negative connotation. People can buy it. LeBron James was the greatest player in basketball. No one denies that. But for years they said, yeah, but he chokes. And he just couldn't get it done the fourth quarter. Well, then they won 2 championships almost single-handedly. And no one says that anymore. Wade Loomis. I remember him playing softball. When I was playing church league softball, and they put me in right field, which really is the best place for me because I didn't want the ball to come to me. And it didn't matter because Wade could cover, I swear, from foul line to foul line. He could go anywhere, and Wade wasn't that fast. He wasn't that fast, but I couldn't figure it out. And I talked to Pat one day, how's Wade cover that? He says, because Wade knows the game. He watched the pitch come in. He knows how the guy's swinging. At the crack of the bat, he's off. And he could cover anything. It's not that he was so fast. He wasn't given a gift of speed, but he made up for it. Bill Russell, one of the greatest rebounders of the game, he used to say, I got the rebound before the shot ever leaves your hand. Because he knew you as a shooter, he watched the spin of the ball, he knew where it was going to go. He wasn't the tallest or the best jumper, but he was the best rebounder. Both Wade and Bill Russell. Tell Wade I put him in the same sentence with Bill Russell, okay. Wade and Bill Russell were given certain gifts, but not great ones, and they overcame them. And if you're a doubter, that's what you were given. I'm always going to be a doubter. I know that. I'm always going to be a skeptic. That's what I am. But that doesn't mean I have to accept it. I can work around it. Just like chokers can, doubters can. One time, I've coached hundreds of athletes. And there was, this is 3 times. If I had to name my top 10 toughest athletes ever, obviously I'm not going to give you the names, but there's 3 people I can think of definitely in there. Definitely are in there. And when it came down, they are the toughest, 3 of the toughest kids I ever coached. And when it came down to the final race, these are all in cross country, and they had to get it done. One was in track. Anyway, their final race, the most important race of their life, these are the toughest kids I ever knew. They didn't get done. They were horrible. And I'll guarantee there were people saying, he doesn't want it bad enough. Bull. It's not that he doesn't want it, okay? I think people who don't get it done in the clutch, it's just like not being tall enough. Michael Jordan was given the best example of get it done in the clutch. Okay, Michael Jordan was blessed. His body was blessed that when the pressure's on, he responds one way. Some people respond another way. That's just how they're built. Just like I'm not 6'10", and I'm not fast enough to be a wide receiver. That was just the gifts I was given. And I know these toughest kids, when the pressure was on, their bodies failed them. It wasn't that they weren't tough enough. It's not that they didn't try. But like I said, it's something you have to deal with, and doubting is something you have to deal with. I had one girl, it was years ago on cross country, and we had for those of you who don't know how cross country works, you run a race and you add up the places of your best 5 people. So if you get 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, and 8th, that adds up to a low number, so a low number wins. And we had on this team, as a girls team, we knew we were one of the best teams in the state, probably top 15 in the state. We knew we were, but we had 5 girls who were very close. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they were good all year until about the big meets came. And my 5th girl fell back and back and back. And we were destroyed. And I know there were people saying, yeah, she's joking. Well, I did what all coaches do. I talked to her and this and that. And she's like, I can't do it. Well, it came to the biggest meet. And I told you we were one of the best teams in the state. But if we didn't do well in this meet, we would never go to state. We wouldn't know it. So I had a special practice just for her. And I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. Susie, get in the line, and we have a big mile loop at Eastwood. I said, you're going to run 4 separate miles with rest in between. I gave her the times. She goes, I can't do those. I said, yes, you can. She goes, they're too fast. I said, but if you get them done, you'll have a good race on Saturday. She goes, if I can do that, I can run great on Saturday. So I said, give me your watch. I told everybody, give me their watches because it's going to go on effort. And I said, okay, ready? And I gave her the times. I said, go. And I had all the kids around the course. And this girl took off. And from the beginning, she had people, go, you can do it, and encourage her all the way. And somebody would run for 100 yards and somebody else, her whole team, including the boys. This practice was just for this girl. And she ran the first mile, and she made it by about 3 seconds. We were all excited, But she says, just the first mile. I can't do more. Remember, she had to do 4. Second one, I gave her a little bit of rest. I said, go. And she keeps going again, and people are cheering and hollering and all this stuff, and it's really going well, and she comes across, and she made it by 4 seconds. Okay. So maybe I can do this. Now, her teammates, they know what's going on. They know if she gets these 4, that we're going to have a good race. The third one comes. The third one, scary, because it's a third one. And she takes off, and the kids are yelling louder, and it's the most supportive thing. It's like she's running the Olympics. You know, they're yelling, go, you can do it. I know you can do it. I have faith in you. No one is saying you can't get it done. No one is saying you choke. No one is saying you're not tough enough. They're all saying, we believe in you. She made about 1 second. Then came the last one. I gave her almost no rest. I wanted to simulate a race, almost no rest. She goes, yes, you can. She goes, okay, I'll do it. And she went, and they were running and cheering. When she came across the line, the whole team was with her. Her and the whole team. And I looked at my watch, and I said, you made it by 15 seconds. And it was like amazing. And they were cheering and high-fiving her and slapping her on the back, and it was the best thing in the world. Saturday comes. It was one of these scary courses where they take off, and the coach doesn't see them for 2 miles. But if they're there 2 miles, they're going to finish. When they came out of the woods, I will never forget this sight. She's exactly where she's supposed to be, actually a little ahead, and she's got the biggest smile I've ever seen to this day anybody running a 5K. It was ear to ear, and she finished ahead of where she's supposed to be. Our team made it to state. They got 9th in the state. Here was a girl who had been a choker, and she got it done. Now, what did she have going for her? She had, in that case, a good coach. Now, I didn't, and I say in that case because I only tell you the successful ones, okay? You know, you have as many failures as successes when you do that. And she had good teammates. And if you are a doubter, and I know they're out there, when you come to a church, you feel, oh, everybody's got stronger faith than me. And you feel like you don't belong there. But I'm saying you do. You need a good coach and good teammates. If you're going to church, it means good pastors and good people sitting with you. I've been blessed all my life to have good pastors. My childhood pastor, Pastor Luoma, I think he understood what I was before I did. And he answered my questions and accepted it and went with it. Then I took a 20-year break of going to church. I came back, and Pastor Keith Kopenhofer was our pastor, and some of you remember him. Pastor Keith is the perfect example why in pastoring, effort counts as much as what you actually do, because he was criticized for not being organized and not having good sermons, but he was one of the greatest people in the history of people, okay? And he knew what I was, and he supported me and did not criticize, accepted everything as a doubter and a skeptic, and that's okay. Then Pastor Jean came, and I remember when we started the praise band, I've told this story before, where her and Karen says, do you want to sing in the praise band? And I was honest. I said, I doubt, I'm a skeptic, and sometimes I'm just a plain unbeliever. Well, and they said, are you trying? I said, yeah. I said, sing in the praise band. That made a world of difference, because I will tell you, this isn't right, but it's what it is. When I sit there and have the band sing the songs, I go through them. But when I'm at that piano, those songs mean so much more to me. And if I hadn't been in that praise band, I'm not sure I'd be the Christian. I guarantee I would not be the Christian I am today. And then when we came here and we needed people to give the sermons, Pastor Jean said, Richard, would you like to? She knew what a doubter and a skeptic I am, but yet she asked me to give the sermon. It's like taking your least dependable person and put him in at the end of the game and saying, you can do it. And that's exactly what she did. Pastor Al, he knows what I am. Okay, and yet here I still am giving the sermon. He hasn't kicked me out yet. Yeah. And so I've had pastors, coaches who supported me. And I've surrounded myself with people of strong faith, but it's not just that. There's people here I know are doubters, and that's good too, because you can discuss things with them. But there's a lot of people with strong faith here have influenced me. And so if you're a doubter, you can get through it. You know, doubting Thomas wasn't so bad. He just had to see. A woman I know who unfortunately had lots of experience with death. One time we were discussing funerals, and I said something about close this casket. She says, no, leave that casket open. I said, why? She said, when people see, they believe. When they see a person in a casket, they understand. Just telling him is one thing. Thomas had to see. All the other disciples saw. Why do we criticize him? He had to see it. And most of us do. And he did one thing no one else did. He said, my Lord, my God. They called him Lord, Savior, Messiah. No one had put that together yet. Thomas was the first one to say, you are my Lord and my God. I think we should let up on Thomas, just like we should let up on Bill Buckner, okay? Yeah, maybe he shouldn't have doubted, but we all do. You know, it's just what it is. Now, I got to tell you something. That story about that runner, that's true. Except what she didn't know, when I told her 15 years later, I lied. She didn't make those times. She wasn't even close. She was horrible, okay? But none of the kids had a watch on. They didn't know. Okay, that's why I took all the watches in cross country. When I take the watch, they say we're running naked. They like those practices. We're running naked today, you know. They have their clothes on, but they have their watches on. And I knew it from the beginning. I was going to lie and lie as bad as I had to lie. And I said she blew it by 15 seconds. Oh, she was like 30 seconds slow. But I also knew, and any good coach knows, what's more important than ability or fitness is your attitude. Okay, your confidence, your acceptance, okay? Because if you are confident and you know that your teammates accept you and you know you can do it, you're more likely to get it done. Like I said, that was a good coaching job on that one. I told her 15 years later, she was so mad. but after a while, she kind of did understand why I did that. If you're a doubter, you have some good days and you have some very, very bad days. There are days I don't doubt. I'm not a skeptic. I just plain don't believe. I'll admit that. But I surround myself with people like you. A couple weeks ago, it was Lazarus Sunday. And Lazarus was raised from the dead. Jesus raised him from the dead. And we had someone from hospice speak, and then Karen came up and said a few words. And what she said in those 2 minutes was huge. Because she said that a lot of people close to her had died. And in each case, she said, God, you raised Lazarus. Why can't you raise these people? And that's where I would have left it. I would have been angry. Or like I said, maybe just, is he even there? But Karen went one step further. Now, I would have been done. But she said, but I know they have their Lazarus moment. I may not see them in this lifetime, but I will see them again. And she said, I know that when I die, I too will have a Lazarus moment. It was at that point that I knew I wanted to give the sermon. That made a huge difference to me because I wouldn't have done that. If you're a doubter, don't give up. Don't sit home on a Sunday morning because you think everybody in that church has better faith than you, because they don't. Because for everyone like me who admits that, there's more who are scared. There's a lot of people here. If you are blessed with strong faith, thank God for it, but be careful that you don't look at people like me and say, oh, he's a choker, he's a doubter. No, they need your help because that's not what they were built. Remember, it's how God designed me. It's how God designed all of you. Some of you are naturally strong faith, but some of you just aren't. And he can use all kinds. In some ways, I'm grateful for that because I can relate to people who have strong doubts better than other people because I know how they feel. If you're a doubter, don't give up. Stick with it. And maybe someday, just like I do now, you will know that you too will have a Lazarus moment. Amen.